Well, joining us now, Joshua Krasna is a senior researcher at the Moshe Dayan Center. Thank you very much for being with us. So I think it's fair to say that trade has continued, hasn't it? But it has stalled almost a year after October 7th. Nevertheless, those partnerships are holding. Are you surprised at how resilient they have been in some respects?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm pleased. All five of the countries with which we have formal peace treaties, which is Egypt, Jordan, UAE, Bahrain, and Morocco, all have expressed in different ways their displeasure with what's going on with the government, with what's going on with Israeli policy in Gaza, the West Bank, and Jerusalem. But none of them have suspended relations, and none of them are indicating that suspension of relations is close in any way. And I think part of that, and the reason I'm not surprised, is the reason all of these countries have gone into their peace treaties and maintained their peace treaties is because both sides, but their side as well, has major strategic interests that are being met by these relationships. And while they might be unhappy with the particular policies we're pursuing now, and maybe want to lower their profile, the strategic calculus is still not really changed for them.
What about Saudi Arabia, though, the big jewel in the crown of normalization? The official Saudi position is no normalization until there are concrete steps taken by Israel towards the creation of a Palestinian state, which for the moment is a non-starter for Israel.
Yeah. So first of all, the Saudis kind of said that even before this war let out. The Saudis had said when there was a lot of noise about this just before October 7th that there was possibility of there being an imminent normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia, but it was dependent on several things, some of which the Americans had to provide, and they sort of gave a vague comment that there needed to be some sort of an Israeli contribution on the Palestinian issue. Now, of course, as the crisis in Gaza, the crisis that began with the Hamas invasion, October 7th, but as the crisis in Gaza has unfolded, for lots of reasons, for international reasons, for regional reasons, and even for internal political reasons, Saudi Arabia is not pushing forward the normalization too much. Just one word on that. One of the things that we have to remember is that the relationships between Israel and Saudi Arabia today and on October 7th are the best they've ever been. In other words, the last stage of normalization, the formal diplomatic relationship, has not occurred, and I think will not occur for a while. But we are meeting the Saudis, talking to the Saudis, flying over Saudi Arabia, doing things with Saudi Arabia that we could not have imagined doing in the past. So there's been tremendous progress with Saudi Arabia over recent years, over the years since the Abraham Accords. I think that last step that others have already taken, it's going to take a while for them to take. Because as I said, the strategic calculus now is different. And the downside of formalizing relations with Israel is higher than the upside that they would get of the various things that they could get from normalizing those relationships.
All right, Joshua, stay with me. Let me bring in Yaakov Lapin. We know that these Saudi governments, they say one thing publicly, they have to satisfy the very real public anger about what is happening in Gaza. But there is also a measure of admiration for how Israel is standing up to and handling Iran and its aggressiveness in the region.
Absolutely. I think behind closed doors, there's a very clear realization by the leaderships in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Bahrain that Israel's enemies are their enemies, whether it's Sunni Islamists like Hamas and all the other Islamists that want to topple regimes that they call the enemy because they don't apply, a stringent Sharia law and don't wage jihad against the West, but rather cooperate against it. So there's clear enmity between the Sunni Muslim Brotherhood, which Hamas is a core part of, and these countries. And of course, the Shiite imperial ambitions of Iran, which is intending to take over the entire region and topple anybody that stands in their way. Obviously, that's a major threat to these Sunni countries. And so I think that they're quietly banking on Israel to make significant progress against the Iranian axis. But there's a limit to what they can say in public. The fact that these relationships have remained intact after nearly a year of warfare in the Gaza Strip, I think is remarkable and a testament to the real glue, the strategic glue that holds them together.
Okay, and Joshua, do you think that any other countries might sign up over the next year? Some names that have been put forward, Pakistan or even Indonesia.
So I never say never, but no. I think that in the situation that has been created in the Middle East in the wake of the Hamas invasion, and I agree with what Yaakov just said, they do this differentiation between the fact that our enemies are the same, but I think they authentically, not only because of public opinion, I think they authentically think that we are pursuing a wrong policy in the Palestinian region. So there's kind of this duality in their policy. They really do want us to reach a ceasefire in Gaza and begin to go into a political process with the Palestinians, but they understand that they have helped us against Hamas and against the Houthis and see Hezbollah and even Hamas as their enemies as well. But I don't think that, I think the people who have come the farthest up till now are the Saudis, and I don't think they're going to do it very soon. And I think that anyone behind that is one step behind. I think, theoretically, there could be some small and unimportant countries. Pakistan is not one of those, neither is Indonesia. But I don't think that any Muslim country right now would see an upside to a normalizing relationship with Israel.
Okay.
I think there are those who are interested, and I think they're going to wait.
Okay, and of course, Israel has had a peace treaty with Jordan since 1994 now. That is proving to be a very complicated relationship. I know you've spent some time in Jordan, Joshua. Just your outlook going forward with that relationship.
So I think that, as you said, it's a relationship that's been going on for 30 years, and it's a relationship that is extremely robust and resilient with all the problems that it faces, extremely robust and resilient. And I think the reason for that is even more than the countries that are farther away, like Morocco, like UAE and Bahrain. We have significant strategic interests with Jordan. We have they have significant strategic interests with us, right? There's security interests, which have been there all along. They are very dependent on us for gas today. They're very dependent on us for water today. 70% of the electricity in Jordan is generated by Israeli gas. Now, the public doesn't necessarily, it's not secret, but the public doesn't necessarily know or internalize that. But they are extremely dependent on us economically, and in the past 10 years, we have added this kind of an infrastructure economic dependence which didn't exist before, which I think is extremely stabilizing. They don't like our policy on in Gaza, or they don't like what's going on now in Gaza. They don't like our policy in the West Bank. They don't like our policy on the Temple Mount. They are very unhappy with our Temple Mount. They don't particularly like our prime minister. But I think that could lead to cool relations. But I think I would be extremely surprised if Jordan not even broke relations, but even suspended or downgraded relations. I just don't think it's in the cards.
Joshua Krasna at the Moshe Dayan Center. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.